Adobe Connect chat pods. Which one should you use? Hello, everyone. Today we're going to look at one of the most important features and tools inside Adobe Connect, the different chat options. At first glance, they may all seem like they do the same thing. They all let students type, right? Well, yes and no. Each chat tool was designed for a different purpose. Choosing the right one can improve classroom management, increase participation, and help you keep your lessons organized. Today we'll compare four different chat options: the Q&A pod, the chat panel, the chat pod, and the chat plus pod. I'll explain what each one does, when to use it, and share activity ideas for both elementary and secondary education. Let's begin. The Q&A pod. Let's look at a common way that this chat pod is used in a classroom. Here is my classroom. It is just my lobby where students can come in before class starts. I have a Q&A pod on the bottom right, and I can see that Sally is already in here before me with a note to me. This is Sally's mom. She will be a few minutes late. So I can see right away that Sally has been logged in, but she is actually not in the classroom. Now I can see her step away sign has been put on. This is an example of a good way of having your students or even the parents of your students communicate with you at the beginning of your classroom. Sometimes they might be late. It could be they have to leave early, whatever it is. It's just an anonymous way to see students' questions or comments. I have this always running in the very beginning to let them communicate with me before even they have their microphone. How do we put in this Q&A pod? Go up here to pods, click on that, and go down to Q&A pod. You can see I already have that in there, and now I've taken it away. So I want to put it back in. Click that. It will usually fill up whatever blank space that you have in your classroom. If there is no blank space, it will probably appear on another slide somewhere, and then you can move it into place. With the Q&A pod, only the host and presenter see what is in the Q&A pod, what the students are typing. Mostly what I get in my Q&A pod is, "Good morning, Mrs. Pendleton. How are you?" And it could be a quick way of just conversing with students at the beginning or before a class period. You can also use this as just a beginning reminder. Maybe there's something special going on in the classroom. And that way you can give them a little note in the beginning to prepare them for the day. Over here is the three dots. You want to click on that, and you want to click send message, and you will send it. You could also send an individual message or to everyone, and just toggle those back and forth. Here you can actually start typing the name. I only have Sally in there, so she will be the only one that I can, but whoever's in there, you'll be able to send a message directly to them. Most of the time, you want to forget your science journal, and you will send it to everyone. You're going to see it here. You can look at participant view, which is what the students will see. This is what you see. Some students will respond to that. I can see that Sally has responded with an okay. Another way to use the Q&A pod is having a question that you might be using for a microphone check, but you want to give every student an opportunity to also respond in writing. So here I have the same Q&A pod in my pledge. This was where I typically would have my microphone check. I typically have my camera on during this time because I want them to see me as I ask this microphone check question, and they know I'm listening to them. So I have what was going on earlier, so I want to clear all this. So I'm going to click those three dots and clear all questions. And now I have a blank slate here. So I will be putting in my microphone check question. What is your favorite season? I will send that off, and now I can see that she has answered it. I might even call on those students that have answered it first in the Q&A to then say it out loud. So I would call on Sally, what is your favorite season? and she will respond. Another way to encourage students, if they know that they will be called on once they have written it in the Q&A, that's just another encouragement for them to get their response in there. It also lets them think about their response before they say it out loud. Some students might be a little fearful, and it's that processing and typing it out that when they are called on, it's just a little bit easier to articulate. So that's another way I use the Q&A pod. Another way this could be used in a way that gives students courage to ask questions during particular lecture or a reading is as you are reading something or teaching something, so this is basic lecture style, students could ask questions as they go through. Say either students or you are reading this passage, and as you read it, you might get to a word that they may not know. Let's say the word on this passage is influence. So a student, as you read along or somebody else is reading, is not sure of that word. They could then type it in the Q&A, and only you are going to see that question. So if we look, Sally asked that question, what does influence mean? Now you'll be able to see it, none of the other students will see it. So you can, whether it's at a natural stopping point or say the student had read that first paragraph before you select somebody else, you can actually just bring that up. Oh, I wonder if anybody knows what influence means. And you can call on people to say what they think the definition is, or you can just address it yourself. So another way, this would be great probably for middle school and for high school as you get to higher vocabulary, where you don't have a whole lot of time to address every vocabulary word that may appear on a slide, but you'll be able to address those things that students are confused with. And it's great, it's anonymous, and you can just address it to the whole class. Nobody knows that anybody has even asked that question. So it's a great way for students to feel confident in asking questions without feeling that they don't know something, which is hard, especially for middle schoolers and even for high schoolers. Usually elementary, they tend to not be so shy in asking questions. Another great way to use the Q&A pod. Another way you can do this is to answer directly in the Q&A pod. Let's say you are pressed for time, you have other students reading, but you're going to address that question directly with that student. You go over here, click on their question, and you're going to reply in the question, and you will select, there's two boxes. One is reply privately, one is reply to everyone. So you want to reply privately, and you're going to select that, and the student will see that on your end. So they'll get their question answered while something else is going on, some other reading. It's hard to do, obviously, if you're doing the reading or if you're doing the lecturing. So this is probably mostly when there's some kind of stopping point or you have a minute or two to be able to reply to that individually. If you want the Q&A to take up the whole screen, let's say there is a natural stopping point, you want to address something on the slide or something you have lectured, you can take this Q&A and you can maximize it for all. So it covers up everything. So the students are looking at just that. And again, probably you're going to clear everything when this happens. So you have a blank slate. And once you're done with that, you can restore it back to its original size. Another way you can use this is as a final wrap up. Say you've been lecturing or reading and you're getting lots of questions in the Q&A. You can then, at the end of that lesson, address the most common ones that you see that are in the Q&A. Now, sometimes you won't be able to address everything, but you can say, these are the most common questions I've been getting, and then address those at the end of your lecture. You want to make sure if you're using this that you give that margin room so that you will be able to have some time for that. There is the Q&A pod. If you have any additional questions on this, go ahead and send me a message or an email, and I will address it directly. Or if you need ideas on how to use this for your specific subject or grade level, let me know. Let's talk about the chat panel. So this is a new feature in Adobe Connect, and it's going to be an icon that you're going to have up here, but we don't see it yet. So you actually have to enable it in preferences. So what you want to do is go to the More and go to Preferences, and under Chat, you want to click Enable a Chat Panel for this room. Now, that's going to enable it for everyone. So you want to think carefully before you enable this. Now, as we can see, I have a chat icon at the top bar. So if I want to open up that chat panel, I'm going to click on it and it opens right up on the side. It's docked right there. You don't have to move it around. In fact, you can't move it around. It's static. You will see it. Students can see it. Now you're going to see that, but students are going to have to enable this. So let's take a look at the student view. I'm going to pull in. Here we go. There's Sally, what Sally is viewing. And as you can see, Sally does not see the chat panel, but now she does have this icon where she can click and boom, there is the chat panel that she will be able to use. Go back here. Now, why do we want to use a chat panel as opposed to, let's say, a poll or just a regular chat pod? Well, here are some ways that you can use that. Think of it as your standard classroom discussion. Everyone types into one shared conversation. It's perfect for quick participation in class discussions. Everyone type at the same time. What can you use that for? You can use it for warm-up questions, exit tickets, brainstorming, class discussion, quick checks for understanding. Some elementary activities could be what animal would be the best classroom pet. So everybody's typing, everybody's seeing what they're typing. Or you could ask, what is one adjective that describes today's story? They can type it in. You can discuss as needed for some middle schoolers during, say, a social studies lesson. If you could interview any historical figure, who would it be? This can open up quite a few discussions in class. For example, during a high school lesson on literature, you could ask, should the main character have made a different decision? So again, this could easily be done with a poll, but say we want some clarification, yes, because, no, because. You'll get lots of different answers with that because everyone participates at once. You hear from students who may never raise their hand. So this is a great feature. And one thing that's a benefit to those students maybe that are super distracted, they can type their answer and then hide the chat panel. So they're not seeing everybody's answers, but they're still participating. So a couple ways to definitely use the chat panel. And then what you'll probably want to do is you will want to disable it so students aren't continually in there using it for some communication between each other. So again, you just go back to your preferences, go back to the chat and disable that. Now let's talk about the regular chat pod that probably most of you are familiar with. So we want to go up here. We want to go to just chat and new chat pod. Here you can drag it wherever you want. You can make it as large or as small as you want. I tend to like my chats there at the bottom right corner. This is the same features as the chat panel. One thing I didn't mention is students can reply privately to the host with this. So let's take a look at that feature. So I've just typed a standard hello in here, and let's take a look what Sally sees. So here's Sally, and let's say Sally's having a hard time. Sally can do is click this plus button and just send a message to the host or presenter. So she's going to click that, and then she could type her message and send it to the host. So let's take a look. And now I can see I have two tabs here, one for everyone, one for host. So I can see that Sally has replied to me privately. And so I can either address that individually, or if I don't have time, I can move on. I'm not going to call on Sally for this particular part of the lesson. And when I do have time, I could respond to that, reply to it. I could also give her another message like, go ahead and put your step away sign on if you don't want to participate. During a lesson, how do I want to use this? Now, a great feature about this one is you can create more than one chat pod. Let's say you have two different groups. You've broken up your class into two different groups, and you want them talking about two different things on the same theme. So I'm just going to go ahead and put in a new chat pod and maybe put that in a different part. And you could say, Team 1, I want you to discuss this. It can be used as a collaboration tool with Team 1. Team 2, I would like you to discuss this. And so you have two different discussions or collaborations going on at the same time. And you can switch back and forth between the teams and talk about each one as you roll along. And at the end of it, you could have one team present their collaboration and then the next team present their collaboration. Some other ways to use this would be, one pod could be vocabulary questions. Another one could be general questions for the lesson. Some elementary activities. You could have 4 chat pods and have different reading teams in each one address a different part of the literature. You can, for middle schoolers, say they're doing a debate. You can have group A arguing one side, group B arguing another side, and then each group collaborates inside its own chat pod before actually sharing with the class. Some high school activities, you can assign some different case studies, and each group analyzes a different scenario in its own chat pod. After discussion, group presents their conclusion. Those are just a few of the ways that you can use that chat pod. When you want to get rid of it, you want to click here. There's lots of other features that students can change their color of who they are, and that might be good in, say, a collaboration group. Each person can pick their own color. They can also change the text size. Let's say they just need, and it only changes it for themselves. Here you can see, makes that a lot bigger for that student. They're the only one seeing that larger text size. So go ahead and take a look at all of these features. There's quite a few of them. And same thing, you can maximize the chat pod for all, and that would be great if you have 2 different collaborations going on. Let's say we want to focus on the one collaboration, so you can do that. Maximize that chat pod, and then when we go to the other one, you can maximize the other one. So lots of different ways to use these chat pods. If you don't want to get rid of the chat pod, you could just pause it so nobody is typing anything. If you want to get rid of it completely, you can just hide that pod and it goes away. Those are some great ways to use the regular chat pod. So any other questions, send me an email, or if you have anything specific you would like to use with the chat pod, let me know. I can help brainstorm some ideas for you. Now let's move on to the Chat Plus pod. So here is my break time layout where I probably use the Chat Plus pod the most. How do we get that there? This is an extra pod, one of those custom pods. So you want to go to pods, you want to go to custom pods, and as you can see, I've got a lot of Chat Pluses in there, but we're going to click new custom pod and you're going to have to find it. It was the last thing I used in this class. You can actually search for it, and there it is. And you're going to add the pod to the room. Now, the biggest difference in this one is probably, not going to lie, it's the emojis. And that's one of the things students really like about this, but you're going to have to probably have a little lecture about how to use these and what is the appropriate use of this Chat Plus. I would never allow the Chat Plus when I wasn't there. So during break time, I would usually have it on I had a 10-minute break. I would have it on the last 5 minutes so I could monitor it. And so I would let them know this was a favorite. They would often ask for it. And I would let them know, yeah, when I get back, or the last 5 minutes, I will put in the Chat Plus. Here it is. Just with any regular chat, you can just type in there, and notice I'm in blue. Let's see, Sally can see that I've said hello, and she's going to type hello back. And now Sally is in a different color. So that's one of the features with the Chat Plus. It's a little more visually appealing. Now, Sally can also like whatever I've said. So we've got the thumbs up button. I can do the same thing with Sally. I can see here, one person has liked it, and I can do the same thing with Sally. And now Sally will see that one person has liked her comment. The options here You can have an anonymous chat. Here, anonymous chat names will not be displayed. Let's look at some other features. A great feature for this is you can actually identify questions here. So clicking on identify questions, you see now I have a little question mark beside the actual question. You could also just have the questions shown instead of all of the chat. If you want, you can include sounds, so it does a little sound whenever somebody is typing something. Which I would find quite annoying, so I'm going to take that one off. You can also not show the vote. So that little thumbs up, you can actually take that away so that you do not see that and put it back. I suggest you just come in here and play with it. So since this is just an enhanced version of chat with additional features beyond the standard chat experience, it could encourage students to participate a little bit more, but it does give younger students maybe some motivation to participate, selecting an emoji as opposed to writing out. So let's just clear this chat. We could ask them, how are you feeling at the beginning of this day? And they can go here and select one of these top emojis, or they can click it and send it. Now they can chat privately here. Let's look at how the students would send a message privately. Now this is set up where they only can private message the host, not any of the other students. So if we look back at Sally, she is going to click this same one here, but it only says message host. So she could send a private message to me, and she sent a private message to me, and then I can reply as well privately to her. Or I could just out loud say, thanks so much, Sally. And only she will know exactly what I am replying to. Those are some features with the Chat Plus Pod. One great feature that all of these chats have is the ability to export the chat. So let's take a look at Chat Plus. You want to click down here, the three bars, and you will click Export Chat and wherever you want to put it, and save that. This is what that looks like. So it comes as a CSV file, and so it's in a nice spreadsheet, and depending what you have. So this is the chat. Another probably benefit to the Chat Plus is how it is exported. So if you are a spreadsheet type of person, you're going to like this export. The next one, the regular chat pod, you want to go up to these three dots and click on email chat. So this one would be sent to your email for that chat. The Q&A pod has an export as well. This one has two different ways to export. You could just download it as a text or email it. Let's take a look. If I download it as a text, what that's going to look like. And this one is pretty organized. And as you can see, we have the back and forth that I was doing with Sally there. And that's how this export looks like. So it comes up as a text file. And then the last one, the chat panel, that one just allows you to email the chat. All right, so some different other things that you might want to consider on which chat you would use, especially if you're wanting to save those chats. So some final thought. One of the strengths of Adobe Connect is that you're not limited to just one type of chat communication. You can choose the communication tool that best fits your teaching, your classroom, as well as matching your lesson type. Need a private question? Use the Q&A pod. Need a class discussion? Use the chat panel. Need breakout style collaboration? Use multiple chat pods. Want enhanced communication features? Try Chat Plus. When teachers intentionally choose the right chat tool, student participation becomes more organized, more engaging, and much easier to manage. Thanks for watching. If you found this tutorial helpful, be sure to check out my other Adobe Connect videos, where I share practical strategies and creative tools that make your virtual classroom more interactive and engaging. I'll see you in the next video.